Hi, I'm Joe Knob from Vocal Nebula. I hope you're having a great day. And in this video, I want to talk about something that it probably comes up from time to time. It's in another video that I'm making today, is this idea between a top-down approach or methodology to training a voice or a bottom-up approach, which is what I now do and teach. Okay, and it's really important to know the difference because most of what I see out there, especially in like pop and contemporary styles, not just private lessons, but also I actually purchase a lot of online courses only to discover that they're really this top-down approach that hasn't really worked for me, certainly not quickly. And I'm all about improving as fast as possible. So what I want to do in this video, and it's just going to be a simple slide, and we'll go through each items and I'll talk about the difference. The bottom-up approach has a much stronger history in classical training. And you don't have to sing classical songs to develop your voice using this approach. I sing rock and pop and musical theater, and this is the way that I'm making my voice improve as fast as possible. So let's look at that slide. So when I say let's start on the right. When we say top-down approach, you'll know the difference by the exercises you're given. Generally, the semi-occluded exercises like lip trill and humming are done very little and usually just as a warm-up. And then you move on to what are called open mouth exercises, which involve vowels and consonants. And you'll use it, you'll do ma 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 or may my or goo goo goo. There's a lot of open mouth work. And you do a lot of song work. So quite often you'll warm up with like a lip trill and a hum, then you'll do some of these open mouth vowel exercises, then you'll sing a lot of songs. And then if you're having problems with your songs, you go back to the vowel and consonant exercises to sort of fix things up and then maybe go back to a song. And what happens with this method is you just really stay in those top two items. There's some phonation development, but again, there's not a focus on it. There's not a really good instruction on what's happening with your vocal folds, how they can vibrate in two different modes, how to strengthen them, how to lengthen them, how to make them more flexible, how to connect the two different modes through really repetitive muscle retraining exercises. You also end up with kind of these abstract concepts like finding your mix, that again aren't about developing your core, not developing your core breathing, your core phonation exercises. It's just a lot of really kind of pop concepts that I've never really seen anyone explain mixed voice really well, and I've gone out looking for it, okay? And then breathing technique is usually de-emphasized. It's either you're told to breathe naturally or ignore your breathing, or you get a little bit of instruction. A lot of it's kind of the belly emphasis, belly out or down and out breathing, but it's not the foundation of what you're learning. And it's never the foundation of what you're learning, okay? The bottom-up approach is actually the opposite. When I say bottom-up, I'm referring to the instrument, okay? So the breath engine is the lowest part of your body, down to the pelvic floor and up through the rib cage. And so you begin with really understanding how the breath engine works, you don't have to memorize all the names of the muscles. That's not important. You just have to understand the basics of passive air pressure and active air pressure and how each are generated, and how passive air pressure is more important at the start of the phrase because you run out of it at the end of the phrase, which means active air pressure becomes more important at the end of the phrase. So there's very basic things to understand, and there's a lot of really great exercises. Some of them are just awareness exercises that you do for a few days just to get a general idea of how breathing works. And then there's exercises, something like the Farinelli sequence or series of exercises that I practice and I teach. And they really develop the breath engine, and they don't make any sound, so you can do them at home if you have roommates or neighbors or something, and you don't want to make a lot of noise. They're great for that. But generally, you're going to connect your breath engine to your phonation system, your vocal folds, fairly quickly, and then you can train both at the same time. So you're remembering all you learned in your breath training and with the breath exercises, but now the vocal folds are vibrating. But what is very important here is number 3. Is that while you're combining numbers 1 and 2, the breathing and the phonation, is you hold your articulators nearly motionless. This is your tongue, your jaw, and your lips. And this is done with semi-occluded vocal training exercises Your mouth is partially closed, and it creates all kinds of really cool effects that help you train your vocal folds, which means increasing your range, making your voice stronger within that bigger range, connecting all the bits, the registers, and the rough parts, the breaks, smoothing them out so you have one long connected voice. And you can do all of that without opening your mouth and using vowels and consonants. In fact, opening your mouth and using vowels and consonants is what triggers all your bad habits. So when you hold those steady, you eliminate a lot of that extra activity and movement, and you're actually training your vowels and consonants more effectively than if you're using them. Because about 95% of what you do when you make vowels and consonants doesn't involve the tongue and lips and jaw. It's about the breathing and the vocal folds and keeping the lower throat wide open. Okay? Then, as you get that, you don't have to master it completely, but you eliminate a lot of your vocal problems that happen down below, breathing and phonation. Then you begin to slowly add in the vowels, really without the consonants. You can use consonants to kind of launch a phrase, but you can do exercises that transition, say, from a hum to an open mouth vowel. And you're basically bridging the phonation to the articulation exercises. And you're starting with what are called the top layer vowels. So you start with the oo and e layer, then move to the o and I layer, and you get down to the bright Italian ah as well. And it's not like you're waiting a year or two to train this. It's really more like you're just spending a little, maybe you're spending 80% on the semi-occluded stuff, 20% on some very basic open mouth activity in the first year. And then you just make adjustments depending on how you're solving your problems and where you're at in your training. Okay, and then you open your vowels into ever more complex vowel shapes. You begin to introduce consonants, but really vowels and consonants you develop a core sound, a core technique, and vowels and consonants are really, they adorn that core technique. They are lightly attached to that technique so they don't pull you out of that core zone, that place where your voice just flies out, it spins out, it has a really good connected tone. Okay, so again, it's a bigger picture thing, but it's very important to my own training and what I teach. And this can make a huge, huge difference in your rate of improvement. Not only will it help you improve faster, but it actually can just take you to places that the other method can't take you to, because it's not ever fixing the deeper seated bad muscle habits that need to be replaced if you want to take your voice all the way. Okay? So I hope that helps. Ask questions, whatever you want to do. There's a couple more episodes this week. You'll be able to see them nearby that are related to this topic. And so I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you in those episodes.